Great things often start with unexpected opportunities. In 2016, when Hamlin Baptist Church sent out a letter inviting organizations to dream big about using their 64,000 square foot space, something extraordinary was set in motion. Among 15 proposals, one captured their hearts. That October, Hamlin Baptist's generous gift became the Springfield Dream Center. In March 2017, the Springfield Dream Center officially kicked off with a neighborhood block party that announced, "We're here and we're not going anywhere." The first programs were simple but powerful. 35 people gathering for community dinners, block parties that turned strangers into neighbors, and 11 kids building friendships during the Spring Break Club. Soon after, thanks to the generosity of Bobby Allison, the activity center was fully renovated with gleaming gym floors and basketball hoops. As Bobby said, "Let's show Northside kids what's possible, not leftovers." By fall of 2018, the Dream Center Academy was born, giving kids not just education, but stability and the opportunity for a future filled with hope. Through the years, families have been empowered through classes, groceries, partnerships, and relationships. Even during the challenge of 2020, when COVID forced programs to move online, the Dream Center never stopped. Drive-through dinners served over 400 meals each week, and kids had safe spaces for virtual learning. The mission didn't just survive, it thrived. Since then, incredible milestones have marked our journey. 2021 brought programs back inside. 2022 gave us a new roof. 2023 added step classes for adults and pre-K to Dream Center Academy. 2024 welcomed high schoolers. In 2025, we launched the loudest summer ever and began basement renovations, creating the Village, the future powerhouse home of expanded programs that will reshape destinies.
It's hard for me to talk about the Dream Center without getting emotional. Honestly, I hope I can never talk about the Dream Center without feeling the things I feel. Because the work that is done here has not only transformed our community, our church, the people who come, our staff and our volunteers, but it has been the greatest honor and faith adventure of my life.
What began as one letter of opportunity became something transformative. A safe place delivering dignity-driven support through relationship-centered programs to help families take next steps toward stability. From that first block party to hundreds of meals served, classes taught, and families changed, the Springfield Dream Center has always been about more than a building. It's about people. It's about neighbors. It's about bringing help for today and hope for tomorrow. This story isn't over. It's just beginning, and you're part of it.
We love the Dream Center. And we want to say welcome to North Point. We're so glad that you're here with us today. And honestly, welcome to the Dream Center, because this is a little different today where Jody and I are tag teaming this message where really, I know you're at North Point, but you're invited to the Dream Center because we are one. And so I want to take a moment and welcome our campuses, Nixa and Republic and Springfield, everyone watching online. It's good to have you here today. And as I've already mentioned, I'm here with...
Oh, I'm Jody.
Jody. I was going to say Judy.
I know you were. I could see it in your eyes today, Jonathan.
Jody has a alter ego, Judy Dowdy. Explain that for a second.
It was COVID. COVID didn't do all of us well, okay? I got called in for a last-minute interview by a local news organization, and they did not get it right. They put my name up as Judy Dowdy. So now anytime I get a little spicy, we just say it's a Judy Dowdy kind of day.
I love it. I love it. So Judy and John over here. But I do want to say, hey, if this is your first time here at North Point, welcome. We think you picked a great weekend, even though this weekend might look a little bit different. If you showed up the other 51 weekends out of the year, it would look different than this weekend. At the same time, I think that this is one of the most missional weekends to be at, where you're just gonna feel the heartbeat of what goes on around here. And I think sometimes when you'll walk into a church, you might have some misconceptions on what you're hoping to, I don't know, get. Maybe you walked in here and you're hoping to be around a bunch of people that think just like you. Well, there may be a bunch of people, but you're going to find that a lot of them don't think like you. You might think that I want to go to a church where everyone just believes like me. Or you might walk into a place where there's a lot of people, but they might not believe like you. Today, our whole goal is that no matter what you came in here looking for, that you would leave with a bunch of hope. And so really that's what today's about, is how do you take the hope that's here and you bring that outside these four walls, that even if you came in empty today, that you would leave feeling full and that would overflow into your community. What does it look like to get outside these four walls and make an impact? And I don't think Jesus is sad when less people from our community show up at North Point. I think Jesus is sad when less people from North Point show up in our community. And how do we take the hope that we get? Let's bring that outside our four walls. And so today is kind of like a melting pot of North Point Dream Center, because organizationally, this is how we've done some of this. And so I want to walk through, Jody, can you tell me a little bit about the Dream Center? What is the Dream Center? I know there's people that have maybe been coming here for a year and they're like, I've heard of the Dream Center, don't know what it is, never been, and how do I sign up for a sleep study?
Oh, yes. We don't have sleep studies, but we do get that call a lot. So we didn't know the name would be confusing, but here we are 8 years later, and sometimes it is. But if you are new or you've been around for a long time, here's what I want you to know today. North Pointers, you guys are Dream Center. North Point is Dream Center. Dream Center is North Point's and has been from the very beginning, but we exist to be a safe place for people who are trying to take steps forward in life. And so I know that video showed a lot of our history, but one of the things I love is that this has been a long time conversation, and Arrows Out has been part of the DNA of North Point since the very beginning. And so over 8 years ago in 2016, leadership and I were having this conversation about what does it look like to move from just responding to big events to having a yearly impact, a more regular impact in our community. And that is when Hamlin Baptist was gifting away their building for someone to do just that. And the way they invited people to be a part of that process was they sent out letters. And at the time, someone that was working in the office of North Point read that letter. They're like, there's no way we have time for this. And they threw it away. And I know, Springfield gave a big, I love it. Yes. Yes, if we were doing a read along, that is exactly the emotion you'd have there. So here's what happened. She couldn't sleep that night. And so what I love looking back in 2025 at the story of the Dream Center, there's all these little moments along the way where you know God's hand and his plan was in it, even when sometimes it didn't always make sense. So anyway, she couldn't sleep that night. The next morning she comes in, she takes the letter out of her trash. Thankfully, it hadn't been emptied. She takes it, she brings it to Jeremy and I, and we look at it and we're like, I think this might be the next step that we need to walk through. We had had a couple other leaders we had been talking to who had said, I think this is something that North Point is positioned to do well, to love their community. And while we're in the north side of Springfield, we really do serve the greater Ozarks area for a lot of our programs. So our after school program is very neighborhood centric because that's how we wanted to focus on that specific group of kids. But everything else, we see people from all over Springfield and surrounding cities coming to receive help for today and hope for tomorrow.
And one of the things, you may be at our Republic campus or at our Nixa campus, and really it's this blending of the Ozarks and your local expression, because from a North Point perspective, we would see a lot of needs. People would show up and they would say, hey, it's cold outside. Can you open up your doors so that people can get warm? And we're like, yes, absolutely. There would be people that show up and say, hey, can you feed us? And our answer wants to be yes. Can you help meet some needs in our community? The answer is yes, we want to do that. And then we had to sit there and say, do we think that we could do this better? And the answer was yes. And so thus kind of came the Dream Center, because we felt like we could be help for today, but we certainly weren't hope for tomorrow. And so walk me through that. What does help for today and hope for tomorrow look like?
Absolutely. So when you say yes to everything, you end up doing nothing really well. And it's a painful place to be, as I think everyone at North Point wants to be helpful. And so then it's, how do we find the best ways to use the resources that we have? And when we're talking at the Dream Center, we say help for today, hope for tomorrow, because we think that's the most supportive way that we can help families take steps forward. So our sweet spot are families that come in and they're kind of at what we call the stage of readiness. So they're identifying, hey, I need help, but I'd also like for my situation to look different in 30 days, in 90 days, in 2 years. So we like to work on both sides of resourcing. So the help for today side is how we resource families immediately when they come in and they need somebody to, sometimes it's as simple as someone to listen to their story that they feel like they've repeated over and over again in town and no one's heard them. So if we can listen, if we can help them find, hey, these are the 4 things that we're identifying are maybe struggles or going wrong right now. How can we help you find the best thing to start with? It can be really overwhelming when needs are pressing to know what is most important and where do I start, because it all feels big, and it is. The reality of it is, it is all big to every family that we're serving. That help side is saying, hey, on the first Tuesday of the month, let's provide a meal to anyone, get them in the doors, get them exposed to programs, get to know our staff so that we can really help meet those needs. Sometimes it looks like a grocery distribution or a block party where we have a free thing for you to bring your kids to keep them busy. Sometimes it looks like sports camps. We have soccer club and basketball club because our families often aren't paying for those camps to go to, but that's the help that we need for their kids to not get left behind athletically. And that help side for us introduces families, and we don't time how long they're in there. Our job is to wrap around and support in every way that we can. And as we get to know them, then we move them into the hope side. That hope for tomorrow, because if all we do is resource, if it was just the help side, then really long run, we're actually hurting more than we're helping, because we're not getting anybody to that point of feeling independent again or feeling confident in their own skills again. And so we need to see the other side happen and provide that. So our hope side is getting them in classes that will give them long-term skills, budgeting, parenting, goal setting, personal development, getting to sit down with someone who says, what's your long-term goal? Is it to rent a house? Is it to have a better job? Is it to get your GED or your high set? Is it to have a better relationship with your kids than you have with your parents? And how do we help you take steps to get there? We aren't the agents of change. We're not changing people, but we're encouraging them in whatever their next step might be while we look around at all the different ways that they may need that support.
I love that it's such a both and thing. It's not like, hey, we can't help today, but would you come back tomorrow? And it's not, we can help you today, but don't come back tomorrow. And I think spiritually, it's the same thing here at North Point, is we want to be a safe place. We want to be helpful for today. We want this to be a spot that you can come in and you can experience something today that's hopeful and that's helpful. And then we want to introduce you to Jesus, that honestly, who can transform your life, someone that that as you begin to follow him, like it just changes everything. And so as we may look at the spiritual lens here at North Point, the practical lens at the Dream Center is just as important. And really, you can't have one without the other. Both are so necessary, especially in a community like this. And so even at the Dream Center, you'll have a verse that talks about this kind of hope. Walk me through that.
Yeah, so when we were getting ready to start, we're like, hey, what is the verse that we kind of want to think through? It can be our lens in a lot of ways. And it's Proverbs 23:18. And it says, your future is bright and filled with a living hope that will never fade away. And the very first time I read it, it's not like I was searching through my Bible for a Dream Center verse. We just knew we needed one. But I was reading through, and when I read that, to be honest with you, I stopped me in my tracks, because I thought that's exactly what it is that we're trying to do at the Dream Center. It's your future is bright. It doesn't matter how dark someone's day feels like. It doesn't matter how hard life has been. What we want when people experience the Dream Center is this idea that even if it feels the opposite, that inside each person there is a bright future. There is goodness. There is opportunity. And we know it's there because of the second half of the verse when it says that you're filled with a living hope. We know that to be Jesus, and that never goes away. So it doesn't matter if their path forward is linear, if it's up and down, if it's crash and burn 10 different times before they get their feet under them. What we can remind our families of through all of our programming, through all of our messaging, through relationships is that your future is bright and it's filled with a living hope that never goes away. So that growth mindset of the Dream Center is really because of this verse of we believe it, that the future can be bright and we just keep moving towards that.
And sometimes that can be such a different narrative than what you've been telling yourself all week, where you showed up, maybe you showed up to one of our campuses today and you feel like your future isn't bright. And you feel like you don't got a lot of hope. And you sing some of these songs and you read some of these lyrics on the screen and you're like, well, that's different than what I've been telling myself this week. Take the truth. Like what you've been telling yourself might not be truth. And when you walk into a place like this and you see a scripture like this, you read lyrics as we sing these songs, let that be a new narrative in your head. And a lot of what you're doing at the Dream Center is rewriting that narrative, that you've got someone that might have been telling themselves something for years and years and years, and they've been telling their kids something for years and years and years, and saying, let's rewrite that narrative in our head. In fact, I've heard you kind of talk about it this way, using a garden analogy, and we've got lots of gardeners out here, so they'd love to hear that.
Yeah, I'm just sure in November when gardens are mostly dead, it's like full of gardeners at all of our campuses.
Good time of year, right?
But yeah, if you know me, you know that I like to find different ways to talk about the Dream Center. And right now, my current fixation is to talk about it in the realm of gardening. And part of this is because at the DC, one of our staff members is a master gardener. And so I've gotten to watch April do her thing over the last couple years. And while I've watched her in our physical garden at the DC, I've realized it's so much of how we do things in general. And so I want you to picture this garden. It can be a raised garden. It can be a big garden, whatever you picture in your mind. It can be one tiny little pot in your windowsill. And when we picture the Dream Center, it is the garden. So each of us has a part to play at every campus because today you are all North Pointers and North Pointers are Dream Center and Dream Center is North Point. So we each have a part in this garden. The families that we serve are going to be the different plants that are there. And here's something really powerful to know about seeds, which is what plants come from. Inside that seed is everything needed for that plant to become the plant it was meant to be. So inside an oak seed is everything it needs to become an oak tree. What's important though, of what will tell you if a seed's going to actually bloom and flourish or not, is the environment. It's the soil. It's those outside things that need to be just right. So this is where Dream Center as the garden is extremely important because we have all different plants in our garden. And we need to know who needs more sunlight, who needs the encouragement. Some of you out there today, you are the encouragers. You speak life over people when you interact with them. People feel loved when they're near you. I think of a Peggy. A Peg is there every Tuesday at the Dream Center, and she never runs out of hugs, and she never runs out of encouragement for people. She is like the sunshine. I think of people who are in our programs volunteering. We have a whole pile of reading buddies at the Nixa campus that come in every week. And they are in the dirt on their hands and knees, pulling weeds, getting obstacles out of the way for the kids that they're helping and serving. I think of the people who water the garden, who tend to it, who say, I've got a specialized skill. I think of people who say, hey, I don't have a lot of time, but I have treasure. I want to fertilize this. How can I dump more on the Dream Center so that it can help people grow faster in a better way? And then each of our families, what we're doing is we're trying to help evaluate what does this person need to get the obstacles out of their way, to have this amazing place where they can grow and they can flourish. So as I've been in my garden era, some might say, don't worry, I'm not actually gardening because that's a very different story and outcome. But as I've been in my garden era when it comes to Dream Center, I did a little research about different plants. And Jonathan, what plant would you like to be today?
Probably a daisy.
Oh,
I think I'd be a daisy. Something like that.
So dainty.
I don't know.
Dainty as a daisy. I was
you.
going to probably pick a tulip, but we'll go daisy for you.
I'll take either.
So when we think about Jonathan, everything within him, he's designed on purpose, with a purpose, to be the best daisy in the whole wide world. What we need to do is put him in an environment and encourage him in a way that allows the daisy to be. Would you be a white daisy, a yellow daisy? I don't know if they come in different colors or not, actually.
I think I'd be a unique color.
A unique one. Yeah. He'd probably be ombre.
I like that. I like that.
A little ombre daisy. So a couple things we've learned though is that the mustard seed, if you've been around church for a while, you hear mustard seed and immediately you think of that, of faith the size of a mustard seed could move a mountain. And you're like, how's that possible? Because this seed is so tiny. But here's what we know about hope that we can learn from the mustard seed. While that is an itty bitty seed, it can grow almost anywhere. So it doesn't have to have the perfect environment yet to get going. You can chuck it out there. Farmers love it because they don't have to have the best soil in their fields to be able to get the mustard seed to go. But what happens is once it starts growing and taking root, it spreads. Some people would even call it invasive. And when we think about it in terms of hope and gardening, here's what we know is that hope is resilient. That mustard seed, resilient. It's going to go, it's going to grow, it's going to move. And that's why it takes just a little bit of faith, just a little bit of belief, just a little bit of hope to see big things happen. And then you have the sunflower seed, which we actually grow at the Dream Center. And one single seed grows into a sunflower plant. And what happens is those sunflower plants can produce up to 2,000 additional seeds from every single plant, which is why we've only actively grown sunflowers once at the Dream Center, but we have them every single year. Because again, we're talking about hope through this, is that hope is contagious. Once one person catches it, once they get a little glimpse of what's possible, a little bit of encouragement, that hope takes root, you can't help but share it with other people. And then I think of the century plant. And this is a newer one that I've learned about. Some of you may have never heard this before. The century plant, it looks the exact same for about 20 to 30 years. That's a long time. You go by every year on your way to family vacation, you're like, is that the same plant? And then the next year, like, is that the same plant? You're like, that thing doesn't grow. But that's because the growth of the century plant is almost all internal, where you cannot see it. It's the root system under the ground. It's hidden, and it's happening quietly for 20 to 30 years until all of a sudden, a giant bloom takes off, and it will grow over 30 feet. And it's gorgeous, and it happens quickly once that growth cycle has ended. It happens so fast that it shoots up. And then the blooms will fall and they become new century plants. And here's maybe the most important lesson that we've learned at the Dream Center, and I also know it to be true in my own journey with Jesus and faith, is that hope takes time. It's why we don't rush our families. It's why there's not a you do this and then go here and then go here. Because we know that hope takes time. And sometimes for many, many years, growth is happening that we can't see yet. And it reminds me of one of our very first moms, Michelle. Michelle came to us and she was anxious. She had come out of a bad relationship. She could not make eye contact when she talked to you. She would stutter a lot and just had no confidence. She was stuck in a dead-end job, living in a one-room apartment with her daughter. And her daughter, she wouldn't say a word. She wouldn't look at you. She wouldn't respond to you. She just stared at the ground always. And for years, what we did is we were Help for Today. We had our daughter in our after-school program, and we just consistently had the same teachers and people greeting her every day saying, I'm so glad you're here. I love seeing you, and just leaving the door cracked open. And with Michelle, it was every day when she's picking up, we're just building relationship. They'd come to community dinner. They'd come to block parties. They really were on the help side of things. She'd need help with something. We'd see what we could do. And then all of a sudden, after a few years, she finally said yes to a step class. And that's not like when you're doing step class to music and you're hopping on and off the blocks. For us, that means support through education and programming. That's when we get you into classes and we're saying, hey, all of a sudden, for her, it was, can I get my high set so that I could qualify for a job that would be better for me than the one I'm in right now? Could I get help with my budget so that when my car breaks down next week, because it was on an every week breakdown kind of schedule, I can be prepared for it? And all of a sudden, what we saw is that Michelle were all three of these plants, because hope looks like this at the DC. She was the century plant. We waited years for this internal growth to happen before she could trust us with what was next. But once she bloomed, she got this confidence to her that we then saw being replicated and mirrored in her own child, who could now look you in the eyes and could say hello. And then we had all these people showing up at the Dream Center saying, hey, can I be in class? Hey, can I be in personal development? Hey, will someone look at my budget? And we're like, where did you come from? Oh, my friend Michelle told me. Oh, my friend Michelle told me that she was the sunflower seed of it was contagious. Once she found her step forward, she could not help herself but to invite other people there. And then over and over again, we see that she is that mustard seed of resiliency when it comes to hope. Because even this past month, her job is downsizing. They've pulled her in to let her know she'll be one of the first on the chopping block as one of the lower paid individuals. And 2 years ago, honestly, even probably 8 to 10 months ago, that would have rattled her. And instead, her response was, well, that's going to be their loss. And I have 3 other opportunities I'm following up on right away, because she was confident in her skills. She is resilient. She's contagious. And her growth can't be put on anybody else's time schedule, but we get to see it come out in this really beautiful way.
I love that story. And there's so many things I want to say about it, but we're limited on time. But I do want to say maybe you showed up today and you might not be financially in need, but you might be spiritually in need. And you might have showed up and you feel empty. You might have showed up and you've got a marriage that's on the brink of divorce. You might have showed up today and you got a diagnosis that you don't know how to process or handle, or what's like I've got something that's running around in my head right now and I don't know what to do with it. Here at North Point, our goal isn't to just like change you and make things better. Like, our goal is, can we create the kind of environment that helps you grow, that when we're able to connect you with Jesus, like, he's able to transform your life. He's able to give you a kind of living hope that we couldn't, like, that no human can give you. And I'm often reminded of the verse, Romans 12:2, don't conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may really test God's will and understand that, his good, pleasing, perfect will. And when I think of that word transform, in the Greek, which is the language it was written in the New Testament, it really means metamorphosis. So when you are able to connect with the living hope, Jesus, you go through a metamorphosis. A lot of times we think caterpillar turning into a butterfly. It'd be the same thing with a seed turning into an oak tree. And same thing for your life. The way that you can look at yourself is, you are this seed. You are good. You are enough. You have everything that you need to grow with Jesus. And an environment like this, maybe a safe place that connects you to Jesus, that points to Jesus, that reminds you of him and the goodness and the promises in your life, like, that can transform your life. That you might be a mustard seed, that, you might feel like you could grow anywhere, but you're growing under the surface. You might feel like a sunflower seed, where you're contagious to those around you. God, you might feel like the century plant, where you might not feel like you're growing up, but God's growing you down before you grow up. He wants to do something in your life, and our goal is that you'd be able to walk into a place like this, an environment that helps remind you of the living hope that you got, and you can take that outside these 4 walls, and you can bring that to a community that doesn't got a lot of hope. And so what we want to do is we want to share really a few stories of some Dream Centers attenders that have received some hope and what that's looked like in their life because of the environment of the Dream Center in North Point. Let's check it out.
We're helping families be filled with hope and be reminded that their future is so bright that no matter what's happening, they can keep going.
My name is Jennifer Parnell, and I've been at the Dream Center for 8 years. I was in a marriage that didn't really let me leave the house or leave the yard. And you guys came down and sat on the porch with us and waited for the kids to come from school. The support meant a lot to us, just for somebody to come and sit with us and talk with us. The Dream Center told us when they first opened up, they was going to help. And still today, they do still help.
My name is Terry Bronson, and I've been at the DC for about a year now. You know, honestly, like, I hope that other people find at the Dream Center what I found, which is just a community. I had been jobless for a few months, and basically I got really behind on bills. North Point helped me out to keep me going until I could find a job. Found the job, and then their only ask was that I get go through the personal development with Patricia, which ended up actually being more of a benefit to me than anyone. I've learned so much, and I have money saved back. I'm months ahead on rent. Like it basically completely changed how I do things, and she really keeps me accountable.
I'm Leanne Bateman, and we started at the Dream Center. Oh goodness, it's been almost 2 years ago. So many people have come into our life because of the Dream Center that enrich our lives, that help us with our daughters, giving them good examples of it doesn't matter where you start in life, it's your choices. The village that we surround ourselves with has such an impact on us. Our oldest kiddo asked me the other day, Mom, are we poor? And I just kind of paused and I said, well, define poor for me. I want to go out to eat and we can't go out to eat. And I was like, okay, if that's your definition of poor, then I guess we are poor. But how I define poor is not feeling comfortable in your home, not feeling comfortable in your space, not feeling comfortable in your family, not having respect for one another. And in that way, we are very rich. Having a village that pulls you down and doesn't build you up. That is a form of poverty that we don't have.
Oh, my name is Robert Cable, and I've been with the Dream Center for 6 months now. I try to come to as many programs as possible. I love them all. I like coming to the Dream Center because I feel like family. Honestly, Bible study's probably been my favorite so far. Just because of the group of people, the group of men that are in there, it's outstanding. Refinding God has been the biggest thing for me there. Feels like hope, someone cares. In a whole year, I hope my family is still at the Dream Center, but more active. I'd like to give back for what they've given to us.
At the Dream Center, I found a safe place where seeds of hope led to a new beginning, where my family thrives, my community is stronger, and my dreams live again.
All right. We love any chance we get to share a few more stories with you. And right now, we are joined by a very special guest, Zach, an original Dream Center dad. He's been with us from the very beginning. I don't know if you can tell this all the way in Nixa and Republic, Springfield, if you can pick up on it. He's a little nervous.
Just a little.
Just
You hide
a little.
it well. You hide it well.
Yeah, we can't even tell you're sweating up there under the top of your head. All right, to make you feel a little more comfortable, let's start with some pictures. So Zach has been with us for almost the whole time. And look, there he is with little baby Aria. She's a big part of his story. We're going to hear about that in a minute. And then we see you guys grow up just a smidge. The facial hair is the indicator of you getting older, I think. Starts to grow in a little thicker. Oh.
My goodness.
She's how old?
She'll be 8 in February.
Wild.
We had our baby shower up in one of the rooms up in the Dream Center. So she's been there the whole time.
And basically the day she left the hospital, she's been hanging around the Dream Center ever since.
She runs it.
She does.
She runs around there and knows every little nook and cranny.
Yeah, you talk about people feeling like family. I'm JoJo.
Yep.
Andy, who's the campus pastor over there, is Uncle Andy.
Cole and Nancy.
It's yeah, she loves it there.
Yep.
But Zach, take us back to the very beginning. Who were you when you first came to the Dream Center? What were you like?
Shoot. So 2017, right around this time, November 17, I got released from Osceola County Jail and hitchhiked back. Was 2 weeks sober off of methamphetamine and did not want to go back to the places and things that I knew. So I was doing all I could not to do that. Like a week or so later, I found the Dream Center and walked in, I just sat there. I was cold, just looking for something different. And the family there asked me if I needed any help. They were volunteering there. I mean, they didn't have much. They found hope there too. But me and Stacy and Stacy was pregnant. She was probably 8 months almost. We were scared to death, homeless, the clothes on our back, and baby coming. So the drive that I had was not to do drugs anymore and have a better life for Aria. So this family actually let me sleep on their couch, or let us sleep on the couch for almost a month. Paid my phone bill, gave me bus fare to go to Penmac down there and get me a job. Finally got me a job a couple days later and was just working, come home and go to work and go to the Dream Center anytime that I was not working. I'd walk up there dead of winter and do something. The thing that I remember is the hanger room, the coat hangers, or the clothes hangers. There was a pile of them. We would go in there and sort them, hang them on so they could have their boutique. It didn't matter what I did. I needed to do something different. And yeah, so
8 years ago, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of things going on. You're like, I just know I want to stay sober. I want to be a dad. I want, like, you've got all these goals. And now 8 years later, you are that. Walk me through how different your life is now.
So it was probably about a year or so going through that, doing anything I could at the Dream Center, serving dinner. Obviously I still needed a dinner, so I was still eating, but I was serving people, starting to just get involved, finding a home. Actually, and then Jody finally, she was persistent about me doing step classes, and I kept on saying, "Oh, not yet." And then finally, I started doing one in 2020. Over the Zoom classes. Did that, probably eight weeks of that. And then they started up another one because it didn't click. So I had to do another one. So it was almost two and a half years. I would do classes.
Good things take time, Zach.
Every Tuesday doing some kind of work. And obviously doing work all the week, trying to figure out what I needed to do. So Jody definitely was a push in the right direction.
Zach's claimed me as the little sister he didn't want. Yeah, everybody finds some family at the DC.
Yeah.
But through those classes, I remember Zach and I got to do a budget conversation together because he came in. He's working full time at this point.
Got a little.
He's the full-time caretaker of Aria, sole custody. And so he's like, I got to make this math work. And he comes in and he's like, listen, somebody's stealing from me. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, I'm short. At the end of the month, I'm doing the math in my head and I should have money left over. He's trying to save for a house. And he goes, but there's no money left over. And I said, all right, well, put it on the whiteboard, because he was supposed to be saving his receipts, but forgot. So we start mapping it all out on the whiteboard. I'm like, great, online banking, pull it up, champ.
Oh.
And what did we find? There, you were being robbed.
Come and go.
It was. He was driving for FedEx, and Come and Go, Red Bulls specifically, were really robbing him. And it's one of those, if you've ever had that own moment in your own budget where you're trying to hit a goal, and until you put it on paper, you realize, oh, wait, I am what's keeping me from my goal. And so it wasn't that Red Bulls were the problem necessarily, but it was now we've learned. What have we learned? We buy them at the grocery store.
Grocery store, or just drink one,
And we drink one, not three.
not three a day.
Yeah. Boundaries are good for us. We've learned that. So Zach, a couple things I want to celebrate with you because you're not the best at bragging on yourself, but you got a few brag-worthy moments in the last 8 years. In the last 8 years, not only is Aria fantastic, and not for a single day has that girl questioned if she is loved and cared for. She is fantastic. You've learned how to comb when she'll let you. You've learned how to do her hair.
Oh.
You can do a top knot like none other, man.
Hey.
Good. You bought your own car.
Yes.
You bought your own house.
2022. Yeah. I was real proud of that. Yeah.
He's bought his own house, and it's a good house. And then what you see is Zach then is like the neighbor. He knows his neighbors. He cares about them. He's giving back. Dream Center on Tuesdays, Dream Center campus on the weekend. And it was probably 2-3 months ago, we started to have a conversation of, he came to me and he said, am I capped out where I am in my current job? But after 7 years, that's a scary conversation.
And burnout.
Yes.
From doing FedEx delivery.
Yeah.
Wear you down for 7 years.
And so it became, you saw for the first time in a long time, I saw this fear in his eyes of, can I do something differently? But what are we celebrating? December 1st, what happens, man?
December 1st, I start a new job.
Making more money.
Making more money. Less work. It's still.
That's what we all celebrate, right? More money, less work.
It's
Zach's nothing but honest.
So I'm just getting old and I can't do that for another 5 years. So I need something a little less strenuous.
Okay.
But
I know.
Still be driving and moving stuff.
You can do it. You can do it. When we talk about Dream Center being help for today, hope for tomorrow, and then we talk about your own growth over the last 8 years, you're now giving back. What's that look like for you?
So going Tuesday nights, talking to people at dinner, welcoming people, like new faces that that I once was, and the actual DC campus is where I serve the most now. I'm there every morning at 7:30, and I don't leave until it's all done. Set up and tear down, and that's part of my staple. Now I've kind of got some trust. The trust is huge for me right now. I can walk into the DC freely, and they trust me with the keys. And I
Maybe the laugh should worry me.
That's that's huge to me. The sense of belonging somewhere and just being and like involving and like injecting myself into something bigger than me helps me stay sober, helps me stay on track. And that's
Yeah. He explained it once to me that the Dream Center was an anchor at a time when he felt like he was just floating around. And now he gets to be that for so many. Please give it up one more time for Zach. We're so proud of you, man. Woo.
And I know we said that Zach was a little sweaty from being nervous, but actually it's because he was over at the Dream Center this morning setting up for services, and he will be taking off after 10:30 to go tear down. So dude knows how to work. But I did think about this. It's really, I hope that story is hopeful for you, because how can we take this hope that we get and take it outside these four walls? I'm reminded of a verse. There's a verse in Isaiah that I always come back to. And it says this: if you spend yourself in behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in the darkness and your night will become like the noonday. And Like, how do we take what we get in here, the hope of Jesus, and it's like a light crashing into the darkness as we go out in our community and we spread that hope. And we remind people of the value that they have. We remind people of the living hope of Jesus. And so why do we have a weekend like this? Is not so that we can, not so that you could buy stock in the Dream Center, although I think you should. It's not so that we can pat ourselves on the back and be like, look at what we're doing. Look at what you're doing. Isn't that cool? We're awesome. That's not the goal. Like, the goal is that just to remind you of how missional being out in our community is, taking the hope that Jesus gives you here and bringing it outside these four walls. And when you're able to make that connection, there's even a couple verses earlier in Isaiah, it says, when you care for those in need, that's when you know God. And some of you, you've been doing a lot of things to know God. And you've been reading the Bible cover to cover, and you've been attending church every single week. And maybe you've gone to Bible school, and maybe you listen to podcasts, and maybe you've done all these things. And there's a lot of head knowledge you're getting, but not a lot of heart knowledge that's coming through. And it's when you care for those in need, that's when you will know God. What does it look like to get outside these four walls and make a kind of impact in our city? Thank you for being a part of what North Point, the Dream Center, is doing. Own this mission. This is ours. This isn't mine and Jody's. The Dream Center is not Jody's. The Dream Center is ours. Let's own this together. So walk me through a couple ways that we can participate real quick as we leave today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, first of all, I want you to just think through your general context of community and where you have influence. And then you start asking your question of where can I be the light that needs to shine, and looking there first. The second thing I would encourage you to do is on your connection card, you can go ahead and grab those at each of our campuses because we're going to walk through those in a second. If you'd like to learn more about the Dream Center, if you're like, hey, I want to know when there's things I can volunteer at, I want to just know more about the stories, anything like that, write Dream Center on your card. And what we'll do this week is get you automatically added to our newsletter. That's going to come to you. That way you can watch for it in your junk email the first time and then tell us we're an approved sender. It'll come to your inbox every time after that. But that's how you're going to find out all the different ways you can get involved in your time, your treasure, your talent through that. And then here's what I want you to know. When we started the Dream Center, what we did is it was North Point's, we are yours, but we wanted it to have a larger community outreach and touch. And we didn't want the growth of the Dream Center to just be dependent on a line item within North Point's budget. So here's what that looks like. When you give to North Point, you give through North Point. That covers about 18% of our operational budget. The rest of that we cover from individual donors, from businesses, sponsorships, and a small amount of grant funding. And so if you're like, hey, I love being a part of this, we do a large majority of our fundraising for operational in Q4 of a calendar year, which means right now we are in the bulk of fundraising season, and we still have just over $240,000 of operational funding that will come in through November and December because of generous individuals and donors. And so that information's in your app, or we can send that to you through that newsletter information as well. But then we partner with North Point for Give Back as Arrows Out. We're still a huge part about that. So Jonathan, tell us that piece.
Yeah, each one of your campuses, you might notice some bags or some shopping lists. And as you participate, as you bring those back, it's just another way we give back in our community. Those events filled up very, very fast. There's a lot of need, which is awesome because we have a lot of generous North Pointers that play a part in caring for those needs. And so thank you for what you do, whatever it is, however you play a part, thank you. For some of you, it's going to be signing up for that to serve at that event. And I know at Springfield and Dream Center, that's right here at the Springfield campus on December 6th. If that's in Nixa or Republic, that's at your campus on December 13th. And any way to play a part, it matters and it makes a difference. And so to each one of our campuses, I want to invite our ushers forward. And I want to walk through this connection card that you have in your seats. As Jody mentioned, whether you write Dream Center on there, whether it's a prayer request that we can pray for you with, maybe for some of you, it's just saying, hey, I need some hope. We'd love to partner with you this week. Maybe there's some of you that you're in a position where you're like, I want to dish out some hope. Write that on the card. We want to reach out. We want to partner. We want to connect with you this week to be able to do that. It's also our opportunity to give. And I want to say a huge thank you for those of you who do give. In fact, I'm so thankful for North Pointers that invest financially, because it allows things like the Dream Center to be birthed. It allows programming of help and hope to take place. And so thank you so much for what you do. It does make a big difference as well. If this is your first time here today, if you'd mark that first time guest box, what we want to do is we want to make a donation in your honor to the Dream Center. And so just by showing up today, you can know you made a difference in someone's life. If you want to give specifically to the Dream Center on the North Point app, you can just pull that up and there's a spot right there. Or you can go to springfielddreamcenter.com. You can give it that way. Whatever is helpful. We're just giving you all the options. But what I want to do is I want to pray, and then I want our ushers to pass our buckets at our campuses. So let me pray. God, I'm so thankful for opportunities like this to remind ourselves that you're our living hope. How do we take that living hope and dish that out to a community that needs it? How do we be that light crashing into the darkness? God, I know that you've given us so much. You've created us in such a way, God, that we can spread that to those around us. I pray that we'd be able to live that, receive that, and give that in your name. Amen.